This is the Ourvoice 360 podcast, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. This podcast was created with you in mind. On Ourvoice 360, we'll give you inspiration, sports, business and leadership tips, Black history, and entertainment. This is a show built from our perspectives. So if you're ready to be entertained, inspired, laugh a little, be informed, and enlightened, tune in now to Ourvoice 360. Let's go! Hey, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Ourvoice 360, our perspectives, our ways. I'm your man, Chad Bumgarner, 1/3 of the trio here. I have with me my man, Pete Hunt.
What's good, family?
And my man, Mike Brown, the Don Dada.
Blessings, what's happening?
And with that, let's go ahead and get into it.
And as always, our show is brought to you by Elect Graphics and Photography. Allow your visions to become reality. And CDB Consulting, great leadership equals great results. How are you leading? And if you want to get in contact with us about anything involving the show, or your thoughts, your suggestions, or how you like the show or how you dislike the show, just hit us up via email at ourvoice360@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Mike, hit us up with some of that inspiration, brother.
Come on, Mike. Drop the
Today it's pretty simple, man. Just, as we go into the health scare with the corona, then you have things, people stressed out, and stress can kill you, which we all know.
That's true.
But people need to, and I've had to learn to do this myself, stop giving so much of your energy and time into things that you cannot change. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people will come by and they will use you as an emotional doormat. They'll drop off their problems and keep it moving. Now you sitting up here stressing about their problems. You can't sleep, but it's not your problem to deal with to start. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, things that are out of your control, no matter what it may be. If it's not in your control, stop stressing yourself so much about it.
You're right, and that's been a nice gem that's been passed around for years, man. But especially, I like your timing is perfect, especially during the pandemic, and not only that, but at the period where it appears to be on the incline again, right here, going into the holidays. Mental health is very important, more now than ever. You know what I'm saying? And we really need to take stock in mind, body, and soul.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I cannot control, I need to relieve myself of them. There's no, like my daddy used to say, there's no sense crying over spilled milk.
Mm.
You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
you can't control it, for those of us who are believers, give it to God and keep moving. Just keep moving. And for the things that you can control, figure out how to do it. Sometimes there's one phrase that a buddy of mine loves to say, what's the best way to eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So when you got things that's within your control, you just take it one step at a time until you get to the resolution. But for, like what Mike said, things that are out of your control, out of your reach, man, get on your knees and get that thing to God and keep moving.
Yeah, as the old adage says, you can only control what you can control.
Exactly.
That's all you can do. And I'm glad that you brought up mental health, Chad, because it's a lot. Like I said, with the pandemic going on, people losing jobs, kids not being in school, this, that, and the third. And like I said, with the uptick of the coronavirus, man, that's going on right now, it's prevalent that we are all mentally are on a good plane. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are in a situation where mentally yourself that you're not right, seek help. There's no shame in it. I mean, there's no shame. I mean, it's a stigma, that especially in the black community, you know, I ain't gonna go talk to no shrink for what? I'm a man. It's like, I'm a man. I'm you know what I'm saying? I can deal with this. I can handle this. But it's some things that in life that, you know, you might need to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Not a family member, not, a significant other, somebody on the outside that looks at your situation or can, look at your situation and say, and give you pointers or give you uh, uh, look at things in a different perspective.
Yeah, without being biased.
Yeah, without being biased.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I would like to tell all our listeners and viewers, if you're in a situation like that, man, reach out, man. Reach out to somebody. I mean, a professional that can help you, get through a struggling time. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because our mental health is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, in quality of life. Because if you're stressed out all the time and you're not acting like yourself, I mean, it affects more than you.
And then that was the point I was going to bring up, Pete. And I'm glad you said that, because the thing is, when you're not right mentally, you're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting the people around you, because you take out your anger or your frustration or your confusion or your fear or whatever onto everybody else, and everybody else is like, what is going on? But you can't pinpoint it, especially if you can't pinpoint where it's coming from. You really need to sit down and seek professional help, man, and let them help you get to the root of the issue or the challenge that you're facing, so you can figure out the best way to resolve that matter, man. It's I hate that there's a stigma on that, man. I really wish, we would get away from that, because that's something I think everybody needs.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
Yeah, and it's a great thing right now that you have a lot of prominent athletes right now that's, being transparent and saying that they had right now they're dealing with different situations and like being depressed and anxiety. And I mean, you think of a Kevin Love or bless you, a Kevin Love or a DeMar DeRozan.
Yep.
In the NBA who have been extremely vocal. Yeah, Michael Phelps, who have been extremely vocal about their mental health and or depression or anxiety or whatever the case may be, and that they were, strong enough men to be like, okay, look, I need some help.
Right.
Yes, we should never be fearful of seeking help from professionals. We should not fear that. But like I said, there's a stigma, especially in our community, that we strong and we men and we this and we're that. But on the inside, we're being destroyed. Yeah, on the inside, and it's affecting family members. It's affecting co-workers. It's affecting friends. So I mean, again, if to all the viewers and listeners, if there's a situation that you're in, please seek help. There's no issue with seeking help or trying to find help.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike, we appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Always. Pete, what's up with the sports, man? You got anything?
Man, COVID. That's what's going on. COVID.
COVID is undefeated.
Yeah. As of right now, COVID is undefeated, man. I tell you, since we last talked, of course, we know the Lakers won the NBA championship. The Dodgers won the Major League Baseball championship. And right now, it's basically football.
Mm-hmm.
And as of our recording, they've had the San Francisco 49ers had to shut down their facility. Not only are they dealing with major injuries going into the game against the Green Bay Packers, now they have multiple guys that's not going to play in the Thursday night game, tonight's game against the Green Bay Packers because of COVID. And COVID right now is running rampant, not only in professional football, but college football also.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have multiple games that's going to be canceled this upcoming Saturday that's going to be canceled because of COVID. Multiple things.
Trevor Lawrence had to miss a couple. What his was his COVID? It was COVID, right?
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence, the top player in the country, is missed his previous game. Is going to miss his upcoming game against Notre Dame because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And now finding out, as of this recording, the Houston Texans has had to shut down their facility because of COVID. I'm trying to understand, why are we doing this?
Right.
Why are we playing these sports, especially the college athletics?
Yeah.
And the NFL, okay, cool, whatever. They're getting a check. There's a check that comes along with their play. But these college guys, there's no stipend for them. There's no reason for them playing. That's why I applaud those young guys that stepped out earlier before the college season started and said, we're not going to play because we don't trust that these colleges and universities have our best interests at heart and keeping us safe.
Well, in the college level, everybody stands to make a check except
the player. Exactly. And that's the driving force is, and I heard something, I think it was the Bomani Jones podcast I was listening to. He was saying that, or the person that he had on the show was saying that a lot of these colleges are 2 to 3 months away from being shut down if there's no college football.
Because that's a big part of their income.
That's a big part of their income. That's why they're bringing students back to be on campus, because if they don't have an enrollment, where's the money coming from?
Well, you know what? Real quick, a lot of students from various campuses were suing these schools because it's like, you want us to pay full tuition, but we're not on campus, so we're not using the dorm, we're not using the cafeteria, we're not using the library, any of the facilities, but you want us to pay full tuition? That's bull. We call BS on that. And so that now, like you said, Pete, now they're bringing them back.
Yeah, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of these universities, football is their major money getter outside of tuitions. Is football. So that's why these colleges and universities are pushing, especially, like I said, especially football to play because of the revenue. They could care less about them players.
Right.
They care less about those players.
Because we're still learning. I'm sorry, Pete, but we're still learning the long-term effects of COVID. We still don't have that down yet because it's new. You have various loss of sense of taste, hearing. I've heard that people's hearing has gone temporarily. One person, his came back, but another person did not.
Don't they have the heart enlargement?
I was gonna say that
lungs.
too. Enlargement. Smell. One of my buddies, a friend of his has COVID, and he was like, even though he got through the 14-day incubation, isolation period, he said even 3 months later, he said sometimes he'll wake up and he thought, man, I just can't do nothing today. I'm just dog tired. So there's still a myriad of effects that we do not know and that we're still learning. And then to put these young boys at this risk at a virus that we've never really dealt with before, it could, Pete, it could affect their ability to play pro ball. When you get to the point where you get the physical for the pros and you do the combine and they find out, well, you have an enlarged heart. Well, you have this and your eyesight is whatever. We can't recommend you. Nobody's going to give you millions of dollars if you can't see. Or
we call that pre-existing conditions.
There you go. If you have pre-existing,
and that's what it's going to be when these guys that's say a Trevor Lawrence, he has COVID. So now he has a pre-existing condition. So if he goes into interview with the NFL team, possibly being the number one pick, guess what? He already has a red flag because we don't know what that COVID is going to do to him in the long run. So they can go into negotiations already and be like, okay, you already have a red flag, Trevor. You already have a pre-existing condition.
So, Pete, do you think it'll affect his money?
No, because it won't affect his money because, the NFL is slotted. The NFL is slotted to they make a certain amount with draft picks. After Cam Newton, they made a flat level. So the number one pick is going to get the number one pick money. Number two pick is going to get this much. Number three pick is going to get this much. So now the revenue is slotted. So teams don't have to worry about negotiating these large contracts on the front end. Now, after their first 4 years, and then, they have to re-up or franchise tag or whatever, that may play a part in, his red flag of having a pre-existing condition because, like I said, we don't know how it's going to affect Trevor Lawrence. That's why I couldn't understand guys of his ilk wanted to play so bad. I already know I'm going to be the number one pick.
Right.
First of all, I'm not going to risk injury. Second of all, I'm not going to risk COVID.
Yeah.
I'm not going to risk COVID. So I really didn't understand why these big time first rounders, why are you sacrificing your body and for
what if
you're not getting a check. Now I don't know what type of life or what Trevor Lawrence family has. I don't know what kind of family. He may come from a rich family that they have money or whatever. And maybe that's what he's thinking. I don't have to worry about that. I mean, my family has money. But for these guys that are coming from different situations, or that's not from a situation where, my parents are rich or we have money or this, that, and the third, why are you risking it? I'm a Syracuse fan. And the two best players for Syracuse just said, we're not playing anymore. We're done. We're going to prepare for the NFL draft. Because first of all, Syracuse is having an awful season, and second of all, COVID is real.
Yeah.
And why risk getting COVID and why risk injury when I already know I'm gonna be a middle first round or a high second round pick? Yeah. So why
risk your slot? So
yeah. So I applaud these young guys that are making decisions for them, not the university, but for them. Because, like I said, they've put in the work. You have tape. So these NFL programs know what they're getting when they draft you. Mm-hmm. So, again, on the sports side, it's all COVID all the time as of right now. But yeah, but to end my segment, I want to talk about especially a very good game that's going to happen this weekend. Between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course, Tom Brady, legend Tom Brady versus another legend, Drew Brees. Their rematch this weekend, which will be another great game between two legendary Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Which the first game of the season, New Orleans took that win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. But now Tampa Bay has added Antonio Brown to the mix.
That's right.
So this should be really interesting to see how Antonio Brown meshes with that loaded offense, because you have Chris Godwin, you have Mike Evans, you have Gronkowski, you have Cameron Brate, and they have a top 5 defense also. So it's going to be really interesting to see this game Sunday, and that's the big highlight game of this weekend. But again, as I close, man, COVID is the truth, and it's affecting a lot of athletes and a lot of sports right now. And I'm really and during the following weeks, we're going to talk about basketball, college, and NBA, and I'm gonna touch on that next podcast. But it's going to be really interesting what college basketball does, because there's a more physical. Even though it's physical in football, basketball is something totally different as far as, guys banging and beating on each other.
Yeah, skin to
skin, sweat, this, that, and the third. So that's going to be really interesting.
Like that?
Huh?
So Mike had to say it like that?
But I will touch on that next podcast.
Can't go in there. No, I ain't even going to go there.
My bad. I ain't want to set you up, Mike. I ain't want you to get loose.
Yeah, you already did. About to get me in trouble, bro.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, we got to get into it. We just have to. It's too important of a matter of our lifetime to not address this and just skim over. We have to talk about the election.
Busta Rhymes' new album. No, I'm just playing.
which is flaming hot. Woo! Bus came through for us, buddy.
Yeah, he took it back to the old school.
Yeah, when we needed him the most. Thank you, Buster.
Yes.
Did he get 4 mics already? I don't know.
No, he got 5 on this one, buddy, because this one comes hard, buddy. Woo-wee!
Yeah, Buster went back to the old Buster.
Did he?
Yes, sir.
Got you all in check. Kick it to you. All of it.
Mike, I take it you was feeling this.
Yeah.
Yeah. The album's dope now. It's dope. It's really it goes hard now.
He call anybody out?
No, he call nobody out. It's just beats and rhymes,
Bars, huh?
just bars. You getting these bars
Bars.
barred up. He's barred up on this one. Beats and rhymes, just like us old school heads like it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to
No
check it out. I think I heard one track, but I haven't heard the whole album yet. But I'm gonna check it out.
Me and Mike might have to do a music review after our little discussion about the presidency. But go ahead.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into the elections that took place this past Tuesday evening, with President T. Rump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Where do we begin? Today is Thursday, and I must say that I'm really confused with these crowds, running up on the election spots where they're counting the elections. These Trumpers that are shouting, "Count the vote," and then somewhere else they're shouting, "Stop counting the vote."
Yeah.
So
They need to get it together.
go ahead.
They need to get together. Either you're gonna count or you're not gonna count. Which is
I'm trying to
y'all can't do both
Why would you put a lawsuit
on a state.
on a state where you're winning?
But how you gonna sue a state?
Well, that goes back to the 2000 election with
Talking about
Gore
George.
and Bush. Yeah, that's what kind of stirred off them stopping the recount. Was the Republicans sued Florida, and kind of got the recount stopped or whatever, and that's when that's when the Supreme Court came in and stopped everything, and basically handed the presidency to Bush in 2000. But it really boils down to people being very extremely uneducated and in a cult. This is what we call cult-like tendencies.
behavior. Yeah.
But tendencies and behaviors, because when your cult leader tells you to go do something and you automatically do it without even thinking about what the ramifications could be, or what, I mean, it's a Jim Jones feel.
It is.
It's an extremely Jim Jones feel.
Everything's there except for the Kool-Aid. Well, the Kool-Aid is what he's
spewing. What he's spewing.
Come out and say it.
Yeah, he's spewing it.
But he talks between the lines, but they can hear him clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we all can really.
Yeah.
Like stand down, stand by.
Yeah. It just really boils to a cult-like situation with his supporters anyway, because why would you put your life on the line for somebody who could care less about you? He could care less about you. And another thing, this election is really putting forth and enhancing how great white supremacy is.
Yes.
How great it is.
How great and prevalent, not great as being good,
Okay.
as great and prevalent it is.
Powerful.
And powerful it is.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
those non-believers thought it didn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Because you have a guy that's been president for 4 years, almost 4 years, and has accomplished absolutely nothing. He has nothing to stand on, because he's not running he's not running a normal re-election, because if you're running for a re-election, if I'm running for re-election, I'm going to point to the things that I did positive. I got you health care.
Hold on, Pete. Okay. Not only that you did positive, but something that's factual that anybody, regardless of your party, can go look up and verify.
Exactly. And that's not what he's doing or what he's done. It's about, I'm going to call people names. I'm going to disrespect women. I'm going to tell my supporters to basically go out here and be violent.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go our way, be violent. I'm gonna use every racist tactic in the book, and that's what he's banking on. And I'm so glad that he's done it, because he's uncovered, which, I mean, if as
it's
black
always
folk,
been there.
as black folk, we have spidey sense. Mm-hmm. When stuff is popping out. We already knew what the nasty underbelly was of this country. Our people lived through it for 400 plus years. Our people have lived through it. So we already know what the nasty underbelly is of this country.
You know what,
So,
Pete?
yes, sir.
A good analogy is the movie The Sixth Sense. Y'all remember that movie?
Yeah.
Where the
Yeah.
boy said, "I see dead people."
Mm-hmm.
The boy is the black people. Dead people that he see that don't nobody else see. That's the racism and white supremacy.
Wow. That white people don't see.
The person that the white people don't see. The person that the boy is talking to are white people. We see racism all around us every day.
Mm-hmm.
But the white folks, oh no, there's not. There hasn't been that since the 50s. Chad, we've evolved since it. Now they're seeing it firsthand. Now it's in their face.
Yeah, but that don't mean they see it, but they still don't. Half of them still don't want to recognize it. Is what it is. Because I was talking to a guy at the gym last week, and we were talking about the same thing. And I asked him, "So, would you trade places with a black person?" See how quiet it is right now. That's how quiet he was.
I believe it.
Yeah, they know.
So,
I
like
said
Dane
so.
Elliott said,
Yeah,
not only do you know what's going on,
Mhm.
you're okay with it going
yeah,
on.
you condone it.
But you're not doing nothing about it.
Mm-hmm. And what's even crazier is that his base grew.
Yeah.
After all this time, people were like, he's not growing his base. He's not growing his base. Yes, he was.
It just wasn't the base
But-
they thought.
Exactly. Exactly. And this really boils down to racism. That's what this election boils down to.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at all these pundits, and I'm looking at social media and this, that, and the third, and especially white folk are trying to give every excuse in the book. It was the uptick in black vote, or black men voting for Trump. It's a uptick in Latino votes, Latino people voting for Trump. I don't care what their uptick was. It's not going to be the uptick of more white people voting for him. And that's wherein lies the problem. White folk will not take responsibility for their own actions.
Never had.
If he goes into the White House, this is on you.
Yeah.
This is not on that 3% of black men or whatever that
Right,
increase.
because
It's not that.
white
It's not that
folks
too.
in America make up, 86% of the population? Black folks make up what, 12?
14, I think.
14. And then you got other.
Yeah.
Maybe white folks make up 80% or something like that. But still, compared to the other races here in America, you guys are the vast majority.
And if he is, when all of this is said and done and shaken out, if he is reelected, this your fault. Stop whining about it. Stop crying about it. This your people fault. Go talk to your aunties and uncles and cousins and sisters and brothers and grandparents, and this is on you. You're not gonna blame. You're no longer. I'm not gonna allow it. You're no longer gonna blame my people for your issue.
Mm-hmm.
For your issue, because that's all I'm seeing. Well, if black folk would have turned out, did you see Detroit and Philly?
Sure did.
If Joe Biden wins the election, it's because of black folk.
And Latinos.
And it's because of black folk. I'm gonna stop you there, Chad. It's because he doesn't win Michigan without Detroit.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Detroit is the blackest city in America.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Detroit's the blackest city in America now. He doesn't win Michigan. Biden doesn't win Michigan without Detroit.
And for Detroit, it was a simple question: do you want water or no?
Yeah. If he wins Pennsylvania, guess what? It's Philadelphia.
Philly.
It's Philly that's gonna take him over.
Mm-hmm.
If Biden wins Georgia, it's Atlanta. That's gonna put Fulton County and those surrounding counties that's full of black folk, people that look like us, that's gonna take him over the top.
Yep.
Now, come on, Pete. Come on now.
Amen.
See, because I'm tired of
Being a scapegoat.
I'm tired of black people being the scapegoat of people losing elections. It's not us. It's y'all. It's white folk that's overwhelmingly voting for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelmingly. he increased, what was it, 62 million that he had? And he's already up to like 67 million or 68 million. So he gained votes. And that ain't the 3% of black folk or black men.
Nah.
Or the 4% of Latinos. I saw that his in some of the polls that he increased white women. You know, that was the issue last time.
That boggled my mind, because if you look back just over the 3 years alone, not over his career, just the 3 years alone of the evidence, the growing and mounting evidence of disrespect and misogyny that this man has performed and done. And these white women are still okay with that. And it's like, well, you know, at least I know what he's thinking and what's on his mind.
You know.
Are you serious?
It's real simple. It's real simple. And I hate that I'm dominating this conversation.
No,
but it's real simple. It's about power.
Yeah.
When white people look at this right here, it's about losing power.
Mm-hmm.
It's about racism, and it's about losing power.
Well, they all the same.
They're not going to go against the team.
That's just like because Donald Trump even said that he told the middle class white woman that he stopped the low income
from coming out to the suburbs.
Which means you stop black people from coming into your neighborhood.
That's what you're saying.
That's what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know, and I think the whole thing after Obama, they had to go most extremely white as they could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think it kind of backfired for the Republican Party, because a lot of them are embarrassed, and it's like,
they're embarrassed.
Yeah, we didn't think it was gonna go.
Yeah, and they said it.
Yeah. But now let's not make this a one-side show. Joe Biden's biggest deal with him, the reason why he ain't winning by a landslide in my eyes, is still, and Pete, you and I talked about this off air, I think last week or week before, I think it was week before, the 94 crime bill. The 94 crime bill. But see, what people don't understand, like I said, you and I talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
People want to put Joe on this sword, make him fall on this sword all by himself, especially the Republicans, because Joe was the front man to push it. But see, it was the Congressional Black Caucus.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Republicans, along with the Democrats, who pushed this bill to get it pushed all the way through and signed. Joe could not do this by himself, but he had to fall on that sword because he was the face.
Yep.
He was under pressure to get something done. He was the face. Everybody kept pushing him and pushing him. They pushed him on that sword, but people don't want to look at who pushed him on the sword. They just want to look at who fell on the sword. And it kills, because most black people that interviewed Joe during the town halls and other interviews leading up to the election, this crime bill has been a big stigmatism for Joe Biden, and he's had to explain over and over. And I really wish Joe would have just put it out there and said, look, this was a bipartisan agreement along with the Congressional Black Caucus. I was under pressure by them to get this done. This was not a Joe Biden alone, but then it seems like he's passing the buck.
Exactly. So I mean, even though he's apologized and said that, you know, a lot of the bill that was done then, he wished he could change this, that, and the third. It doesn't matter to some people, because in some people's eyes, you know, they're not ever going to do it. And did it put a lot of black men and women in jail? Oh my gosh, yes, it did. Ooh, by far, at a large amount, a large amount. But my thing is this: I'm looking at what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
What can happen now?
But see, Pete, that stuff, when you put it out there, you got people that won't let it go. See, my thing is this, and I was talking to a buddy of mine. It's one thing. First of all, we have to understand that as people, nobody's perfect. What I'm looking for in a candidate is evolution and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
You can be one way 10 years ago, and then now you can be completely different. You can say, I made these choices 10 years ago because of this, this, and this, but now I see the error of my ways and I've changed. Let me show you how I've changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I get that, because as a believer, that's what Christ wants for us, evolution. He wants us to change and grow. Okay? So now what you, in my opinion, let me preface that. In my opinion, with this election, you have a stark contrast of two different people. You have one who appears to have evolved in a lot of ways. Clearly, he's not perfect. He was not my first pick.
Mm-hmm.
But compared to what he's running against, I think we have more of a fair shake with Biden than we do with the incumbent. All because, again, it appears on one side to have been some evolution, some maturity, some growth,
Mm-hmm.
accountability for, past decisions, discretions, whatever. And then on the other side, you have arrogance, you have braggadocious, you have no accountability, you have passed up. Say what, Mike?
You got childish temper tantrums.
As a 70-something-year-old grown man with at your big age. So it just boggles my mind how people still, he did great for the economy. Please research the economy and understand that he piggybacked off of a growing economy from the previous administration.
And you really can't. And if you really look at the totality of the economy, it's the stock market is great. That the stock market is doing well
right now. Yeah.
It's doing extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
But look at everything else, though. Look at our look at our deficits.
Mm-hmm.
He has added more deficits to this country than any president ever. More deficits. See, but people don't look at that. Again, this people voted for him not for his policies, because he has none.
It's celebrity.
Don't talk. It's not even celebrity, Chad. Don't talk to me about the economy. Don't talk to me about anything. Don't talk to me about him getting black folk out of jail. I don't want to hear about none of that. He got 2 black folk out of jail. Okay, let's keep it moving. We're not even talking about that. And a bill that we're talking about that was brought up by a black man, Cory Booker. Cory Booker, put up the bill of, getting getting people out of jail, black people out of jail.
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. This is about racism.
Power, yeah.
This is about racism and power. And the reason why this is so close, and the reason why we're still in flux of the electoral, and we can have a whole discussion on the electoral college, but a whole nother discussion about that. But his base grew because of racism and power. That's I'm speaking about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Racism and power. That's it. I mean, there's nothing else to point to. There's nothing else to point to. And it's white people that voted is voting for him more in mass numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not black folk. It's not Latinos. It's not Asians. Again, when we look at the polls coming out of the voters' booth and all this other stuff, the exit polls, I should say, white women increased as far as I think it's like 4%. White men were always going to be there. Period. Yeah. They were always going to be there.
It's about power. Yep.
So it's just about power and racism. And because you look at black folk, even though there was an uptick in black men from what the poll says, still 90% of black men voted for Biden. 93% of black women voted for Biden. Majority of the Latino vote voted for Biden. I mean, the Asian vote voted for. So who does it leave?
Right.
Who does it leave? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It just boggles my mind that people won't stand on what it really is. Stop making excuses for what this is and why this man is why this is not a landslide. I understand, I understand the southern states like, Mississippi, Alabama, they still stuck back in 1863.
Yeah.
We get that. We get that. We know what's gonna happen there. But the North Carolinas,
Mm.
why we what's this purple thing about?
Why is it neck and neck? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Georgia. What I mean, I understand the outskirts, but as many folk that's in, why is this still closed?
Right.
Some of the Midwestern states, even he got, Pennsylvania, not Pennsylvania, but Minnesota and
Utah.
yeah, yeah, all those places with very small populations, we know what they're about.
Mm-hmm.
But these states that that we kind of consider more on a progressive trajectory, why are we still having this issue? This shouldn't have been close. I mean, if you see as the popular vote, it's not even close. We talking 3.5, almost 3.5 million spread
Right.
between Biden and Trump.
About 4%. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But still, this man increased his voting by almost 4 million people, 4 to 5 million people. What? So what is it about? What is it really about?
Honestly, I feel like Trump and his PR staff have done a bang up job spreading falsities, and people are believing it. But you got a lot of people that are not doing research, Pete. They're just taking what this man says as the word, like it's the Bible. Like he can go to these pep rallies and just make up stuff. I have watched his pep rallies on more than one occasion, and just make up some stuff off the top of his head.
It's the cult-like presence that he's, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, like for number one, I've done more for the African American HBCU. That's a lie. Roland Martin dispelled that myth with 3 African American presidents of HBCU. Number one. Number two, the wall. We're paying for that wall. Our tax dollars. Mexico is not paying for it. And he's only put up 5 miles of the wall. The rest of it has been repaired. You can research this, folks. I'm not making this up. I'm telling you what's factual. There's 2 things right there off of a list of stuff that he claims he's done and didn't do. I got into it with a good buddy of mine about the stimulus check, the first one that came out earlier this year. Well, I mean, he ain't doing too bad. He put money in our pocket. That's your money. You think
that's your money
going to give you free money? Are you that naive? That's your money. You just got it earlier than projected. He ain't do you no favors. That's like you borrow. How do I put this? I'm trying to figure out how to say it right. I let Pete borrow $5, and then I got to borrow it back from him.
You just got your money back.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
real, you got to look at what's going on. Trump feeds off of ignorance, and that's what it is. If you look at these reporters that go out and talk to these Trumpers and ask them questions about
they are really.
Oh my God, it's like
slow.
a dead like Trump said. They always go back to Trump said. Trump said. There's no research. It's just Trump said. Trump said. I'm like, you cannot be this shallow with your thought.
Yes, you can when you don't care about anything he's talking about, but he showed and proved that he's a racist.
Racism is alive and well.
I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what he said. Them folk don't care nothing about him doing stuff for HBCUs. They don't care nothing about that. They care about him calling Mexicans rapists. That's what they care about. Mm-hmm. They care about him saying that he's going to build a wall to separate Mexico from the United States. That's what they care about.
And bans on Muslims.
And exactly, Mike. Bans on Muslims, and you know what I'm saying.
Everything that's not white, he got a problem with, and they love that.
Oh yeah.
There you go. That sums it up. I'm gonna be the law and order president in these communities. This, that, and the third. X, Y, and Z. Okay. It's really cut and dry. It's really cut and dry.
Where he's getting this stuff from? If you pay attention to what he says and research what he says, what's that dude from Alabama back in the day? Bull somebody.
Bull Connor.
Bull Connor was one. The Make America Great, that was Reagan. All day, every day. People just don't do the research. He is regurgitating what's been put out since the 60s and the 80s and now.
It's what he's doing is basically what Hitler done.
Yep.
What Putin has done. The leaders of North Korea, what they've done, and that's who he aspires to be.
Yes.
He aspires to be a dictator. That's what he aspires to be. And these people that vote for him, they understand that because they like what he brings to the table. Because if it's white, it's all right. That's their mindset.
Yeah.
Running up to precincts and cutting a fool and all this other stuff. Hey, did y'all? I wonder, and I'm thinking out loud. I wonder if a group of black people
could do like the supporters
would have went up to a voting precinct armed, and police just would have looked at them. And I wonder if that would have really happened. If black folk would, the amount of bullets that would have been shot.
Well, look at what happened in North Carolina when the group of black folks who just what they call strolling to the polls, unarmed. You had the police standing in front of the precinct or whatever. They spraying tear gas or spraying some kind of gas at their feet. Tear gas at their feet. Then the sheriff come out. Let me be clear. We did not spray it in anybody's face. We sprayed it at their feet. Why?
It don't matter.
In the first place?
Period.
These people unarmed. They strolling to the polls to go vote, and you spraying them. That's voter suppression.
Intimidation. And it's just, and even the fact of this is how deep this racism thing is. This is how deep it is. That it's to the point where you got police officers escorting Trump supporters and people who trying to intimidate black people, escorting them to black neighborhoods. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Where they escorted the Trump to the black neighbor, and the black folk was like, "Nah, y'all got to get up out of here."
Mm-hmm.
And they ran them and the police out.
Now, see, why would you do that? Why would you go into a neighborhood where you're not welcome or wanted? Why would you do that?
You got white privilege.
So it's even deeper than that, Chad. Why would the police escort you?
Knowing it's a bad idea.
The police scapegoat is this: it's a public street, and everybody has a right to be on it. They can follow.
They escorted them to that. No, it's not that somebody called the police and said somebody's over here cutting a fool. They escorted them to the black neighborhood. They were escorted by the police to the neighborhood. So that's an even bigger problem. So the people who's supposed to protect and serve everybody
is only protecting and serving them.
I mean, look at the videos. You can go to YouTube or you can go to any site where the police are putting Trump supporters in their vehicles and escorting them out of situations that they started. Y'all come on in here. We're helping you. We're with you. We're with you. I mean, on their own body cam talking to Trump supporters saying, we're on your side. What? I thought we was protecting and serving everybody. or the officer, well, I think it was Florida, that come into the precinct with the Great Make America Great Again, a Trump 2020 face mask.
Face mask.
And he's the police. Really?
That lets you know exactly where it stands.
That's where we stand as black folk. Since this is a black podcast. This is where we stand. We are not only getting it from those people, we're getting it from the police too, because the police are on that side too, because they want to beat black folks' heads in too.
Oh yeah.
They want to put hot ones in black folk. That's why they treat us the way they do. We can't march peacefully. We can't march peacefully without something pop off, but you can run up to the precinct with guns ablaze, with guns strapped to your back and your chest, and the police is like, okay, we can't do. Where the rubber bullets? Where the rubber bullets? Where the rubber bullets? Where the tear gas? Where the national
guard? Capitals everywhere. And then, like you said, like on like the Trump supporters corralled that Biden bus. Did you see that?
Oh, in Texas, yeah.
And tried to run it off the road. Yeah.
Ain't nobody get arrested for that.
No, ain't nobody get locked. That word the police talking about the police was outnumbered 50-1. Do your job. I don't care what
black
how
folks,
you're out.
You even the odds. You start shooting.
There you go. You even the odds with them bullets. So this is the state that we're in. We're in a very divided country, but as black folks, we've been knowing that.
Yeah, that's nothing new to us.
That's nothing new to us. This is the new reality to white people. Black folks,
the ones that's out in the suburbs that live in their own bubbles.
We've been saying this.
How long have we been yelling this as black folks?
Since we've been over here.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nothing new to us. So now since the ugly underbelly has been lifted, and you see all the worms and all that good stuff and the maggots. Now you see that. Now you see it.
Yeah. Now what you gonna do with it?
What you gonna do with it?
That's key. What are you gonna do now? Are you gonna stand and fight with us? Or are you gonna still stand in the wayside?
We've already seen that he's gained 4 million people. That lets us know right there.
Yeah.
They ain't fighting for us. Cause they like what Trump do.
Because it's power.
They like the power. They like the racism. They like the misogyny. That's what they like. That's what they like. Yeah. So it's real simple. I mean, this election has really
opened some eyes.
Open their eyes, because like I said, as black folks, we've been knowing.
Yeah.
So it's a dude that white guy that I mean, I don't know how cool we were, but where I was working at a place, and he followed me on Instagram or whatever and Twitter, and he sends me this stuff, and I'm like, why are you sending me that?
He don't even know who you dealing with.
I actually, Chad, I ignore it because he'll send it via a DM, and I'm like, dude, why are you sending me this Trump stuff or this foolish? Why are you sending this to me of all people? Because I'm never gonna be on your side ever about that.
Ever.
Because at the end of the day, I love my people.
Yeah, that's what's up.
I love my people, and at this point, it's just people have shown who they really are, who they truly are, and who they're gonna ride with. And I mean, you even have some of the people that's saying that they're with us, our allies. They're even like, we have some of them that said they were our allies are like, now, okay, well, what side am I really gonna play now?
It's getting real.
Yeah, it's getting real. Yeah, it's getting real.
It's been real for us.
Yeah, so I mean, this what this election has done. It has really shown where people stand, and that's a great thing. That's great, because as black folk, we need to know where you stand. Either you with us or you not. And if you're not with us, guess what? Keep it moving.
You know what the old adage is? People show you who they really are. Believe them.
Yeah.
Believe them.
Exactly. And
so
that's
everybody who and I have a lot of Caucasian friends, as I do blacks. But the ones that have shown me who they are, we no longer cool. I mean, you see the real side of people when stuff like this happen.
Mike, there it is. That's exact, and that's what I was saying. This election has shown what side you gonna stand with.
Yeah.
Are you gonna stand with racism, misogyny, no accountability? Is that you know what I'm saying? Are you gonna stand with that?
Or are you gonna stand with what's right?
Or are you gonna try to stand with something better for everybody?
Yeah.
Right. Not just your people,
but
everybody. For everybody.
Right. Because, and my thing is, how do you call yourself an evangelical?
Oh Lord.
Call yourself a Christian?
Now leave that alone, bro.
No, I'm gonna go in with both feet. How you gonna call yourself a Christian and try to lead a life like Christ does, because look, Christ said you can't love me and not love your brother. He said you can't love me and not love your brother. But you gonna call us everything but a child of God and treat us like purity dog, you know what? But you say you love Christ. I'm a Christian. Lies you tell.
I've been saying that for years, bruh.
Lies you tell. I'm jumping in with both feet. You are not a Christian. I want all the smoke. Come to me. You are not a Christian. You are
it's
not a
like
follower of Christ, if that's what you're saying.
Chad, that can be a whole nother hour discussion
It can.
about that, because if you claim to, and my thing is this: you believe in whatever God you want to believe in. You ain't, I mean, you whatever you do,
Yeah.
you do you, whether you Christian, Muslim, atheist, whatever it is, you live the life you want to live. Because
Right.
I mean, nobody has a right to force anything on anybody.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's really showing evangelical, because evangelical is a word made up for white Christians. That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's evangelical. That's what evangelical is. I've never heard anybody, a black person, or anybody else call themselves an evangelical.
Well, that's the reason why I said evangelical, because I was speaking to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at these so-called evangelicals, these Grahams and these Franklin Grahams and all of these cats that's entertaining Trump, what are you getting out of it? Again, it's the power.
Mm-hmm.
It's the white power that I have. I don't want to lose it. So I don't care how foolish I look claiming that I'm a Christian. See, because my thing is this: if you say you a Christian, just say you a Christian. You ain't no evangelical.
Yeah.
You a Christian if you a Christian, right, Chad?
Exactly.
Right, Mike.
That's
you
it.
You don't have to make up no name
No.
for your particular group of
Belief.
Christianity.
Yeah.
If you a Christian, doggone it, you a Christian. Because I've never heard, does Muslims have a separate name?
And you don't even have to say you're a Christian. It's your actions.
Mike.
Come on now.
Mike.
Your actions alone will show who you are.
It just really, that's why I have an issue, especially like with these really big like televangelist cats and ladies. I have an issue with these people, because my thing is this: why do you have so much abundance and you don't want to help folk?
Yeah.
Why do you have so much? Why are you not out here feeding folk?
Because
we're the richest country in the world. Nobody should be homeless and hungry.
I agree.
But religion it's a big business. That's what it has become, a business.
That's what it has become. Yeah.
Mike, you better speak.
It has become a business.
Yep.
Because as a pastor, you don't have to file certain taxes. You know that, right? Y'all know that? Yeah.
And the church doesn't have to reveal certain
and I hate to say this,
submit tax,
but I'm gonna go and say it. If you ever notice, man, most churches are in low-income neighborhoods. A lot of them. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of black churches.
Yeah, exactly. I ain't gonna say that, but yeah. Yeah. But then you taking from the poor to fatten your pocket, but you're not giving anything back to the poor.
Mike,
you know what I'm saying?
Mike, you better stop, boy. You're gonna get in trouble, Mike.
I'm gonna tell it.
You're gonna get in trouble, Mike.
It'll be all right.
Better back up out that, Mike.
Hey, my thing is this: if you doing what God says you should do, then a lot of things would never transpire. Like people in your congregation going hungry, but you got 30-day tags on 2 different cars outside. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm trying to tell you.
It's hot.
I know people right now that couldn't pay their light bill. You know why? Because they were forced into thinking they had to get that 10% of them tithes.
Pete, it's hot. Turn the fan on. People
don't want to understand this. Now, tithes It's not about financial gain. Tithes is what you do for God.
Mike, open up that window. If you
have no money, wait a minute. If you have no money, you can clean the church up. That's your tithes. That's what you doing for God, bro.
You hear Envy barking at you?
Yeah.
You hear Envy barking at you?
Go on, get Envy. Away from this. Go on, get Envy.
I love it. I love it. But because
right.
and my thing is this, and I know some great preachers. I know some great men of God. My daddy, one of them.
Yeah.
My daddy, one of them. Great men. But we're not talking about that. We talking about how you are going to tie yourself to an individual that you know is wrong. That you know said he grabbed women by their cooches.
Yeah.
That you know them been married multiple times and got multiple baby mamas.
Yeah.
But because by what you say in the religion that you go by, you know, some of this stuff that he's doing ain't good. But then they say, well, he's against abortion. Is he? Do you really know that he is?
Right.
Because I've never really heard him give anything about talking about abortion. I've never heard him talk about abortion. Ever. See, that's their go-to. Well, he said he's against abortion. When did he say it? Will you point out the speech where he said that he was against abortion?
He
no.
Against grabbing coochie.
That's what I'm saying. So no, this is not about that. This is about maintaining power.
You know the scary part,
specifically maintaining white power. That's what
this is about.
The scary
part is that they would rather band together and go with somebody knowing that this dude is wrong on so many levels. They willing to go down the rabbit hole with him, then to break away and say, you know what, enough is enough. Enough is enough. I can't.
The word that I read would be against this.
Right. Where's the line in the sand? Where's your line in the sand?
The Jesus that I follow would be against this.
Right.
Where is that at? Again.
This the same man that went to a church or a church and held the Bible upside down, mind you.
While beating people in their head to get there.
Right.
Moving them tear gassing people to get there. And then held the Bible upside down.
Yeah.
That lets you know.
Ain't been to a Sunday service. When he been to church?
Can't even give you a Bible verse.
Ain't been to vacation Bible school.
Ain't been to VBS. How you gonna be the president? Ain't never been to VBS. How that work?
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
I mean, it's really showing what this is really about. It's really showing because you got people, like I said, who's supposed to be religious scholars and religious people and Christians and this, that, and the third, that's following right in behind him. White and black.
You ain't never been a real president if you ain't been to an Usher Boy anniversary.
Yeah. Ever. Yeah, you're never gonna be a good president. if you ain't been to the pastor's anniversary. Let me get started with the rainbow tea.
You ain't never been to the homecoming. You ain't never been to the church homecoming.
Boy, stop playing.
Come on now. Hold on, because we were established in 1926. That's when we established, because that's the homecoming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You ain't qualified to be the president if you never had a part in the Easter play.
Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. It's a wrap. Mike, you got it.
Hold on.
Nah, Mike got it.
Hold on. You ain't never been qualified. You ain't qualified to be president if you ain't never had to do a gleaner. What y'all know about them gleaners?
Well, you better stop. You better stop. I got one.
Oh my God.
Mike, you can't talk what you did. I bet you can't.
You not qualified to be the president if your mama didn't make you sing in the young adult choir.
Because I know mine did.
I know that's right. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, my goodness gracious.
And when I run for president in 2024, that's what I'm running on. Qualifications.
Easter speech.
Yeah.
I did an Easter speech.
Easter speech.
Yes, in my blue suit with my pink bow tie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on. You are not qualified
Come on, Pete.
to be president
Uh-huh.
if you ain't never drank that red Kool-Aid and them butter cookies at Vacation Bible School.
Not the
What?
little ring, not the ones you
The
put on
little
your
ring.
pinky.
The one you put your pinky in. Them butter cookies.
They look like a little flower.
Yeah.
Hey, I got one. I got one.
Oh Lord.
You ain't ever gonna be qualified to be president if you ain't ever had grape juice and them dry ass crackers for communion.
Ooh, what's up?
Them crackers so dry you.
Yeah, that unleavened bread. Tastes like styrofoam.
You got them in your hand like peanuts. You just,
This is a cold air community.
This is cold air
community. I got one for you.
oh my gosh. I love this.
And Pete can vouch for this.
Where we going? This must be a Clinton Tabernacle thing.
You ain't qualified to be the president unless you done left between Sunday school and church and went to the store and got some nail ladies.
What you talking about, boy? What you talking about? Walk right down the street.
Right down the street, fast and fresh.
Fast and fresh, buddy. I'm trying to tell you, Mike. Oh man. Good, great. But on a serious note, man, it's just. I mean, we have been shown through this election so many things about people, as far as black people, who is going to be with us and who is going to be against us. And for me, that's great, because as a people, we didn't know where you stand. Either you with us or against us, because either way, we gonna do what we gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're gonna be the culture of this United States, because we're, as black folk, we the salt. We are the seasoning of this country.
yeah.
We the Lowrys.
We are the Lowrys of this. Literally, honestly,
yeah.
We are the fabric of this country. Not only did we build this country, not only did we give this country its economic foundation. There's no economic foundation of the United States without slavery.
No. There's no U.S. without
without slavery. There's no U.S. without slavery at all. We built your country. We built your economic success was built off of our backs.
Your country, your infrastructure. Go ahead.
All of it. You have stolen everything from us, whether it's music, dancing, art, whatever, and not giving us our credit and giving us our due. Whether it's inventions, sports, whatever it is. This country is nothing without. If it was a situation where Martians would come to this planet and come to the United States and take us away, this country dies. This country dies without us. That's how important we are to these United States and the world. If all the Africans was taken from Africa, this world dies without us.
Yeah.
It's amazing, because in this country alone, like we said earlier in the podcast, we make up 12-13%. And it's amazing how that much of a percentage of a nation is so valuable and so important. And it's the reason for a large part of your success, especially when it comes to the athletics and entertainment aspect. Not to mention science, literature, and everything else, but especially to the athletics and entertainment aspect.
Yeah, I mean, Chad, that's cool and all. I mean, I'm agree to disagree with you on that, because my thing is this: we more than that.
No. I said outside of that, I said not to mention the literature and the science, technology, but especially that piece, because that's what they focus on. I'm just looking at what they focus on. You're right. I agree with you. We are more.
Okay.
We are more than that. We are.
But yeah, it's just
we focus on this aspect, these aspects.
And therein lies the problem, because they have his story, not actual history, his story. Yeah. So that's why they continue to rewrite. They're trying to make slavery. We were indentured servants. No, we wasn't.
We were slaves.
We were slaves.
Right. Call it what it is.
Call it what it is.
We wasn't sharecroppers. None of that.
None of that. We were slaves. And see, and that's why we will never get over this racial hump that we have. It's because folks don't want to be real about it. You don't want to be real about it.
That's right.
But again, lines have been drawn. This election has shown us that lines have been drawn, and either you for us or you're against us as a people. And we really, as a people, we really have to look at, who our friends are.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Who our friends are. Who is this person really? Should I really be cool with this person, knowing that they feel like this, or knowing they vote like this?
That's a hard pill to swallow, because the older you get, man, your circle, it really gets smaller. It really does. And you're more incapable of BS. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
So, but you're right, Pete. You're right.
And that's what I tell the young people, young black people that I talk to. Research who you really are. I tell that to old folk, old black folk.
Yeah.
You listen to this. Research who your people are and where we come from.
Yep.
Stop looking at. It's cool to look at roots. Okay, whatever. 12 years a slave or whatever it is, but that ain't who we are.
Right.
That ain't where we come from.
That ain't where we started.
That ain't where we started. We ended up there for a season.
Yeah.
That's where we were for a season, but that ain't what we cut from.
Right.
We are the original man and woman of this earth. And until we get to the point where we look at ourselves as black people as who we really are, we're going to continue to get treated as such. You know what I'm saying? It's just as less than, until we figure out as a people, look, we way more than that. Without us, you're nothing. Again, like I said earlier, this country dies without us. If all the black people would leave the United States, this country dies without us. It does.
Ooh, that's a t-shirt right. That's a sweatshirt right there. This country dies without us.
Period.
Pete Hunt. Yeah, that's a statement.
I'm telling you.
That's a statement right there.
I'm telling you. And like I said, again, I know we've cut up whatever, but this election has really proved who's going to be for us and who's going to be against us. Because they've come out of the closet now. They feel comfortable coming out of the closet and being who they really are.
That's true.
Stop being fake. Stop being phony. Now they have a guy that they think that got their back. Who he really does. Trump really don't have your back because he could care less about you. He could care less about you. He would pee on you if you was on fire. He would walk by you but yet and still that you follow that cat and you just let me know, okay, what you're really about. So.
Well, that's really it. We're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. We done said all we had to say. Because it is what it is now. We just waiting for, like you said, to shake out and figure out what's going to happen. But either way, we all going to be all right regardless. So, any final comments?
Hey, I got one. You are not qualified.
I knew it was coming.
To be president. If you didn't, after choir anniversary, you didn't have that little white plate with that triangle chicken salad sandwich, the peanuts, the peanuts and the melted mints, the mints that melted in your mouth. You ain't qualified to be no president if you ain't had that little plate.
I got one for you. You ain't qualified to be the president if after the homecoming service, where you had to go downstairs and eat the dinner once again with the small plate, why they give you that little bit of macaroni and cheese?
Just enough to piss you off.
Just
They
enough.
they
on that big ass
rationing.
spoon, but you only get a little piece now. And you and you look at the lady, and she say next.
You mad? Just swole up. You just swole up in your chest.
You ain't qualified to be the president if you ain't never went to the family reunion and asked who made the potato salad.
Or the mac and cheese.
If you ain't never had baked macaroni and cheese, you definitely ain't qualified.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to this version
Oh my
segment of Our Voice 360.
Wait a minute.
Our perspective, our way.
If you ain't, look, you ain't qualified if you ain't never mixed in 2 packets of Kool-Aid in the same thing.
In the same picture.
In the same picture.
We gonna end this segment on a Bible verse or a thought or a quote for the day. And we coming from 1 Timothy chapter 2. And it reads, Mike, you a fool, boy. He said 2 packets.
Red
1 Timothy chapter 2. Verses 1 through 5. It says, I urge you, first of all, to pray for all people. Ask God to help them. Intercede on their behalf and give thanks for them. Pray this way for kings and all who are in authority, so that we can live peaceful and quiet lives marked by godliness and dignity. This is good and pleases God, our Savior, who wants everyone to be saved and understand the truth.
Amen. But listen.
Mike, this is it. We got to go. We already
Look, you ain't qualified if you don't call Tropical Punch Kool-Aid Tropical Punch. You just call it red Kool-Aid.
And we out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take care. Thank you again for tuning in. Be blessed, be safe, and we
drink the red Kool-Aid.
Peace.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when a new show drops. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to advertise or become a sponsor, please send an email to ourvoice360@gmail.com with your inquiry. We'll connect with you as soon as possible in hopes of creating a great partnership. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Our Voice 360. Our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. See you next week.